Hey everybody, John Fanta here with a brand new edition of MAAC Hoops Insider. We will be bringing you updates around the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference throughout the college hoops season. And we begin with conference play having just revved up. The teams at the top of the standings, hey, it's early, but Marist and St. Peter's both off to a 2-0 start. John Dunne's Red Foxes. And as for the Peacocks, led by Bashir Mason, sweeping their Buffalo trip in the league for the first time since 2009-10. Elsewhere in the conference over the opening weekend of league play, Mount St. Mary's, led by Dakota LaFew. He's the MAAC Player of the Week, beating Siena 80-48. St. Peter's edging Canisius in a thriller, 54-52. The Peacocks winning with their gritty Jersey City defense. Fairfield beating Ryder 88-81. Jalen Leach was fantastic in that one, as was Peyton Smith. And the Stags able to win an offensive affair over the Bronx. And then Marist beating John Gallagher's Manhattan Jaspers 70-56. And we stick with Marist. What a weekend for them. And in their conference opener, a rematch of the MAAC title game. The Foxes able to take it over Iona in a thriller. Tobin Anderson's Gales, they're going to be a work in progress, and Anderson said that over the weekend. But when you look at this Marist team, they are a group that has young talent. Josh Pasquarelli is going to be a special player in the MAAC, folks. He had 16 points off the bench in a win over Manhattan. And then look out for Jaden Collins. The freshman came up big with the 16 points in the victory over Iona. So for Marist, a really strong start to conference play. And we caught up with our guest this week, my conversation with their head coach, a guy who knows the MAAC well, John Dunne. It's great to be talking some MAAC hoops right now with the head coach of the Marist Red Foxes. He is in year 6 at the helm at Marist. It's John Dunne, and his team is off to a 6-2 start. They started 2-0 in MAAC play with wins over Iona and Manhattan, coming off a win over Dartmouth on Saturday. John, great to have you with us here. A 6-2 start to the season. What has that entailed, and what's impressed you the most about your group thus far?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a really good work ethic starting in the summer. I think the guys that, are returning, they persevered last year and had a strong finish and came in with a lot of enthusiasm. And I think a lot of the new guys that we brought in just kind of bring a strong work ethic, to the table. So started there with the guys have had great spirit. So I think, if you ask me what we're doing well right now, we're preparing pretty well. We're playing pretty hard, and we're being pretty unselfish. And if you can continue to do those things, you give yourselves a chance to have success. I think the 2 games where we didn't have very good energy were the 2 games that we lost. One, we kept it pretty close because Max Allen, was like Superman in that one, but to help us keep it close. But overall, we've been ready to play, and we've been pretty unselfish.
In your win over Dartmouth on Saturday, a 63-53 victory, your freshman, Josh Pasquarelli, puts up the best performance of his early career, 26.7 rebounds. In his last 2 games, Pasquarelli has combined for 42 points. How has he been able to do it?
No, he's just a good player. I mean, he can really, really shoot the ball. He's got a quick release. But he's not just a shooter. I mean, he can get off, going off the bounce. He's got a good pull-up game, and he's got high IQ. And I will say this, him and Jaden Collins, my 2 freshmen, they will do anything you ask them to do. And, that's a breath of fresh air, because a lot of times, like with new guys, you have to fight them on all the little things. If you tell these 2 guys one time, this is the way we want to do it here, they're just willing to do it. He's kept great spirit. He was starting the first few games. I told the guys before the season that we might want to change around starting lineups from time to time, and took him out of the starting lineup when I was feeling that Brickner was a little healthier, and he never wavered and gave us good minutes even at Iona, even though he didn't play high minutes. So he's kept great spirit. He's kept his confidence going, and And I would say, Brickner and Noah Harris didn't play up in Dartmouth. So that extended Pasquarelli's minutes. Sometimes it's hard for scorers, shooters to get into rhythm when you're subbing them in and out. At the same time, I think we have some depth, especially at the guard spot. So I want to continue to sub. So we're fresh, come February and Sundays in MAAC play when we're playing 2 games in 3 days. But he's never complained about, his minutes kind of coming in and out, and nor has anybody, so we've been selfless, not just with moving the ball, but with our minutes as well. But with the extended minutes, he certainly took advantage of it. And, with 6 of 12, from 3 and was a huge reason why we won the game.
John, you're leading the MAAC in scoring defense, just over 61 points per game allowed, in field goal percentage defense, in 3-point field goal percentage defense. I know that you want your teams to be strong on the defensive end of the floor. What sticks out to you about what you've been able to do on that end of the floor? Because anytime we're talking about that end, and it sounds like it with this group, there's got to be buy-in.
Yeah, no, there always has to be buy-in when you're going to be good defensively. Through the years when I've had really good defensive teams, it always started with the buy-in from the players, from your leaders. Javon Cooley's been a guy that's been a really good leader, senior leader for us this year. And I think we didn't defend well at all last year, but I thought we defended well in the tournament, right? So obviously Gardner was tremendous, and we made a lot of threes in the tournament, and other guys stepped up, but we did guard pretty well. And I made I told the guys in the spring, summer, like, we're going to be a top 3 defensive team in the league this year. At least that was going to be our biggest, goal. I don't feel like we've guarded well enough here at Marist since I've been here. We've had great effort, but we've just fallen short to being really a good defensive team. And if you want to get back to that championship game, you have to be good on both ends of the floor. But I think it does start on the defensive end. I mean, clearly you have to score the ball and you have to have good balance, but we want to compete. We want to play hard. You want to make it tough for others to score. And, we want to make multiple efforts, and we want to have great game plan discipline. And again, I think, with the returners, feeling a little thirsty of, what happened last year and not closing it out in the championship. Came back with good focus. But our young guys, man, I mean, they're mature. We brought in toughness, guys that are willing to learn and listen and put the effort in. And we've just been focused on that end. But listen, we have a long way to go defensively. Even up at Dartmouth, we put together some great defensive possessions, but there were a few that we struggled a little bit with some things. So the good thing is we have a lot of room for growth in that area as well.
John Dunne, the head coach of the Marist Red Fox, is off to a 6-2 start to the season, with final exams going on, a little bit of a break before they jump back into things with UMass on December 18th before traveling to Notre Dame on December the 22nd. John, thanks so much for the time. Good luck here the rest of the way.
Anytime, John. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
We appreciate John Dunne for giving his time, and Marist will take on Dartmouth on the road on Saturday. Now it's time for our Star Spotlight in the MAAC, and this week we are targeting Quinnipiac because they've got the nation's assist leader. I'm talking about Savion Lewis, who has been off to a terrific start to the season for Tom Pecora's Bobcats. Lewis is averaging over 8 assists per game. Now, it helps when you're Quinnipiac and you've got an all-MAAC first-team caliber player, one of the best shot makers in the country, and Matt Belanc. For Lewis to be able to set up Belanc in that offense makes Quinnipiac really have a 1-2 punch. You've got the playmaker, you've got the distributor in Lewis, and he's got a guy he can set up in Belanc, and Quinnipiac able to beat Niagara 75-68 over the weekend. They won it in overtime. Belanc came up clutch in OT. But right now, Tom Pecora has somebody he can run his offense through in Lewis, who has had a terrific start to the season. Now, let's turn to our team to watch. And our team to watch in the MAAC is St. Peter's. Want to go back to Bashir Mason and what he's doing there, because Latrell Reed, as well as Roy Clark, Corey Washington, all coming up huge, as well as Michael Houge, who had 19-9 to get the Peacocks past Niagara. It's a St. Peter's team. Folks, if you know anything about the MAAC, it's this. Going to Canisius and Niagara in this league, that Buffalo road swing, it's very difficult to put together two performances. And St. Peter's did that, and they did it with defense. They are going to be tough. They're going to get up in you, and they don't care who gets to shine offensively, but they have balance between Reed, Clark, Washington, and Houge, and they got that balance to do enough to come away with the win. Houge coming off his first career double-double performance. Look out for this St. Peter's team, folks. I think the MAAC has depth. I think Iona's going to be able to continue to get better as the year goes on. Don't forget about Mount St. Mary's, because that's a team with Lafew, and with their rising talent, they've got guys who can score the basketball well. Marist off to that strong start, and folks, do not sleep on Canisius, because that's a team with some pieces that could be dangerous as time goes along. They are off to a 1-1 start to MAAC play. Conference play has only just begun. The road to Atlantic City for the MAAC tournament, it's on. We appreciate John Dunne for his time this week, as this has been another edition of MAAC Hoops Insider.